Welcome to Anatomy of a Jazz House Track. The main part of the tune is the piano part. The part's really simple, but to me the interest comes from the fact that there's a short note and then a long note. This creates contrast. When in doubt, look for a way to create contrast. As the song progresses, that long note starts to stick out a little bit more as an inactive period of time in the piano part. So I took this as an opportunity to fill that space in with an answer to the question that short and then long note poses. Now I've got a second version of this piano part that's got this question and answer built into it. It makes the first one with just the short and long note feel like a 50% energy or activity level. And now this one with the question and answer feels closer to 100% activity or energy level. What this now says to me is I should find a way to have a version of it, a third version, that's a lower energy level. To do this, I removed the first short note, which created a third, very simple version of the piano part that's just the long held note. I added the short note for that final chord just to kind of give it a punctuation mark. The fact that this piano has such a rich kind of ringing ambient texture naturally in the sound using the sostenuto pedal makes it so that this single chord really shines. It kind of gives it this natural ambience or moodiness that when you're going into this jazz flavor territory, you can't really go wrong with a less is more approach. Let's check out the Rhodes. The Rhodes is functioning more like a pad. It's providing long sustained chords for most of the tune. It's playing the same chord progression as the piano, but with a different rhythm and with slightly different chord voicings. The piano and Rhodes are in dialogue. This dialogue between the Rhodes and the piano is what makes up a good amount of the tune, but there's a contrasting section, again, contrast, where the Rhodes plays short notes and the piano rings out in between those short notes. Here's what that sounds like. By alternating between these long Rhodes chords and then the shortened Rhodes chords, it gives the part contrast throughout the arrangement. That in combination with the piano create kind of a morphing texture. The drums are pretty simple. It's kind of a standard house groove. It's what I was using in this track to give everything an anchor. There's two things that make this pattern more interesting. One is the ghost note snares, which are pretty active in the later sections of the tune. They're synced to the rhythms that are happening in the other elements of the track. So anytime there's a piano chord playing on an offbeat, or a Rhodes playing on an offbeat, or a bass note, or anything else, there's a really subtle ghost note snare that also plays at that same point. It's pretty hyperactive, but it's there to be felt more than heard, to give each rhythm happening in the other parts of the track a percussive representation in the drum track. I also did this with the hi-hat to a slightly lesser degree. On a textural level, I've used shakers to help differentiate between different sections of the arrangement. They're mixed really low, and they're very much a tertiary element just in the background of the mix. The bass is kind of in its own world. It's abiding by 3 ideas. Number 1, play the roots of the chords as each chord changes. Number 2, accentuate the rhythms of the other elements of the track. And number 3, connect those moments with interesting rhythms and melodic motion. As the song progresses, there's fancier elements added to the bass line to increase the energy and activity level. There is a synth that appears in the second part of the track that's based off of the question and answer variation of the piano part. To give the synth part more of an electronic flavor, I sent it through heavy echo, resampled that audio, then trimmed, faded, and filtered the echoes so that they had smooth entrances and exits. I used similar echo and filtering ideas with the Rhodes and piano part during the bridge sections. I also duplicated some of these elements and reversed them so that at the onset of the bridges they decay, and then as they approach the beginning of the next section, the reversed parts build up into a subtle drop. Lastly, to really give it a jazz flavor, I played a minimal piano solo. No jazz vibe is complete without some kind of shredding, no matter how reserved it may be. If you'd like for me to add these instruments, tracks, or techniques to your productions, book me as a co-producer and/or session musician. You can find more info on my website, jaronlopez.com, which is also where you can get my preset packs, project files, MIDI, and sample packs. Everything's linked below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.